Hello, spooky crew. Our tote bag drawing is officially closed, and we just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who entered. We are so grateful for the love and the support, and we have loved reading your reviews. Missed the tote? No worries. We're still sending out high-quality vinyl stickers while supplies last. Just email us proof of your rating and review along with your mailing address to thespookydarlings@gmail.com, and we'll get one headed your way. Quick promise, your address is only for mailing the sticker. No emails, no selling info, no funny business, just spooky gratitude. Thanks again for supporting the show. You are the reason we do this. Hello, and welcome to the Spooky Darlings, where three sisters swap stories about true crime, the supernatural, and the weirdest and coolest stuff we can dig up. During the formation of this podcast, we went through a few different names and emails before settling on the Spooky Darlings, so don't be surprised if we call ourselves the Cozy Ghost Hour or Crazy Creepy Cool. We are now officially the Spooky Darlings, and our email is thespookydarlings@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the show. I'm Nettie.
I'm Haley.
I'm Emily.
All right, today we are going to talk about phrogging. And Haley's going to lead the episode, but while she takes a minute and gets her notes out.
I just have to say, I never knew the term phrogging. I was aware of the phenomenon of hiding in somebody's house, but I'd never heard it called phrogging, which is spelled with a PH.
Yes. And I am going to talk about that a little bit.
Great. Hit it.
Oh, okay. So phrogging, as Emily just said, spelt with a PH, is the topic of today. And my sources are from dictionary.com, lifehacker.com, Wikipedia, joeturnerbooks.com, and oxygen.com. So phrogging is secretly living in another person's home without their knowledge or permission. And it is said this term is used because people, like these people, like the actual frogs, jump from place to place. And then a PH is used in place of the F for some reason. I did not actually find out why the respelling was done. And an article on lifehacker.com, which I guess has the topic of evil of the week, goes over how to live in someone's home without their knowledge. And it gives you tips.
Like directions?
Yeah.
Instructions?
Yeah. It gives you tips on how to frog. So with phrogging being different than burgling is all about the intent. So a frog isn't trying to steal your things. They are living a high risk, rent-free lifestyle. And it's kind of all about the thrill. Frogs are different from squatters and that you squat in an unused house. There is this quote from the article that I read. It says from lifehacker.com, it says, the true frog has chosen house hiding as a lifestyle. Supposedly, there's an underground community of froggers out there who don't draw enough attention to themselves to be subject of news stories. They are said to congregate on dark web message boards where they share tips for successfully avoiding detection in strangers' homes and even post videos of homeowners sleeping for bragging rights.
Oh my gosh, that is
so see, that makes me think that the story I found on Reddit that I thought was fake might be real, because he said that he took pictures of the owners sleeping, and everyone's like, well, now I know it's not real. Well, now I know.
Okay, so I wanted to ask real quick. So you're saying that it has to be a situation where somebody's living in the house concurrently with the homeowners?
Okay. That is part of it, I think, for the thrill. But I did like Pamela Anderson. She had her guest house.
It's okay that you.
Nope, Nettie's going to tell that story.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Nope.
Tell it.
Nope. Nettie's is going to tell that story. But like people have squatted in like guest houses or not squatting, frogging in a house that like is somebody's like maybe vacation home. And so
that was what I also saw. I was looking at, apparently South Padre Island, Texas is like one of like a very high hotspot place.
Phrogging capital of the world.
I haven't seen it officially named that, but it could be. But no,
we
I
said
saw
it
this
here.
thing about it, and apparently people will like, they have these stealthy ways to enter. They'll like come up in canoes at night. So like enter not even from the street side, they come in from the water side, and then they just stay in homes where people are not there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the look, because the frogging that I read about is about it's part of it is the thrill of living in someone's home while they're there. And so that is probably another form of frogging that is like lower risk. So
all sounds pretty risky
probably,
to me.
yeah, there's probably different categories, but it's not like a community that I really am familiar with. Oh, and so then the article is called Evil Week, Your Guide to Living Secretly in a Stranger's Home. And then the article goes on to give tips on how to be a successful frogger, and then also how to catch a frog if you suspect someone is living in your home. Just step one is calling the police. Oh, and symptoms of a person living in your house can also kind of mirror mental health issues. So better safe than sorry, call the police. So, moving on to a case of frogging gone wrong. And I had not heard of this person, Daniel LaPlante. And he is known as the boy in the walls. So he was born on May 15th, 1970, grew up in Townsend, Massachusetts, and he struggled with school. He was diagnosed with dyslexia at an early age, and he was described as creepy and weird by classmates, said to be a loner. And Daniel claims, and I say claimed because it is not proven, that as a child, he was sexually abused by many adults in his life, his father, stepfather, and his psychiatrist included. His father is responsible for most of the abuse. And as a teen, he was referred to a psychiatrist, and this is the psychiatrist that Daniel says abused him, who diagnosed him with hyperactivity disorder due to his behavior, appearance, and lack of hygiene. In his early teens, Daniel started to steal, breaking into homes, taking and leaving things, moving things around so the owners would know that someone had been there.
Oh, so he wanted them to know. Like he was moving things because he wanted the owners to know?
So he started with just stealing things and then escalated to moving items around homeowners' houses.
But almost like he was terrorizing them though, right? Like not
exactly.
Like he wasn't really trying to like show that he was there. He was trying to mess with their heads.
Exactly. Yes, that is correct. He was definitely trying to mess with them. And it is not clear how Daniel got the number to the Bowen residence. Some sources said a classmate gave Daniel the number to the Bowen residence, and some say that he broke into the house and obtained it that way. And I tend to lean towards he broke into their house and obtained it that way. And in this home was Frank Bowen, the father, Tina Bowen, who was 15, and Karen Bowen, who was 9. And Daniel started calling the Bowen house and struck up a rapport with 15-year-old Tina Bowen. Over several phone conversations, Daniel...
Wait, was he calling the house from the house? Like, was he calling on a cell phone or?
He was calling from his house. So this was in 1986.
Oh, okay.
So this is before cell phones.
Okay.
At this time, Daniel is 16 and Tina Bowen is 15.
Okay.
And so Daniel struck up a rapport with Tina and told her he was an athletic blonde boy, good looking, well educated. And after after several phone conversations, Daniel asked Tina on a date and she accepted. Once Daniel arrived for the date, Tina was greeted with a greasy, dark-haired, skinny boy who was nothing like who she thought she was going to be meeting that night.
Like, hey, it's me. I know I look a little bit different.
Yeah. I didn't wash my hair today.
Normally I'm blonde and athletic, but
I've just been out of the sun for 2 days.
But I forgot to shower today. So.
Just today, though.
So I couldn't shower off the brown.
It's just 1 day.
Brown swarthy skinniness.
Brown swarthy.
You guys should write this. This should be the script for this movie. About this.
It would bring a little more lightheartedness because this only gets darker. So Tina went on the date anyway, and I assume that she probably just didn't want to seem rude, just like, she's 15,
the
it's the 80s.
And she had been taught her whole life to be polite.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they went to the local fair, and after about an hour, Tina made excuses and left. So while on the date, though, Daniel learned that Tina's mother had recently passed away due to cancer.
Oh.
And Tina later said that Daniel wanted to know a lot of detail about the whole ordeal. He asked her like how Tina felt at the moment her mother died, and wanting to know how much Tina's mother suffered during the whole process of passing away due to cancer.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
You know
And
what? That is
so
very
he's
similar.
creepy.
That's very similar to Ted Bundy.
Mhm.
They say that sometimes people and I don't know like what happens at the end of this, although I think I may have listened to a podcast about it once, so I kind of know, but I don't remember for sure. But Ted Bundy, like a psychological examination of him, said that part of the reason he loved the suicide hotline that he worked for, and that's how he met Anne Rule, was he loved that people in crisis, people suffering. He liked
having control over it.
He liked to be there and witness it and hear them talk about like their darkest moments. He got a kick out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember in that book, Anne Rule said that she remembered seeing him just like hunched over the phone, like he was the most dedicated.
Mm-hmm. Now we know anyone who's dedicated, that kind of thing.
You don't want to commit to anything, you guys. Okay.
Wow.
So Tina never went out with Daniel again. And
yeah. Good choice, Tina.
Yeah. So the Bowen family is grieving the loss of their mother, and Frank Bowen is grieving his wife. I actually could not find her name, which was a little disappointing, but I also, only had a couple of days to get like my research really put together. So I'm sure it's out there, but so Tina and her little sister Karen, who is 9, by the way, they decide to do a seance to try and contact their mother.
Oh.
And they didn't expect anything to really come of it. But later that night, the girls started to hear knocking on the walls, and the daughters believed they were communicating with their deceased mother.
Oh.
The girls asked the spirit questions, which were answered with different types of knocks against the wall. I didn't see if like they had a system in place, but a lot of people, it's like 1 for yes, 2 for no. I assume it's kind of that type of system.
Yeah.
So eventually the knocks were happening when the girls weren't trying to talk to their mother, and things around the house began to disappear and furniture began to be rearranged. And their father thought that the girls were acting out due to their mother passing away. And Tina and Karen thought that they had allowed a negative spirit who was not their mother to enter the home. And so the girls attributed it to haunting. Frank Bowen, the father, attributed it to the girls messing around because they didn't know how to process their grief. And so Frank put the girls in counseling. The knocking was starting to happen so often, it was driving them crazy. And everyone is still grieving their loss. There was an incident in the basement where the girls discovered a message saying, "I'm in your room, come find me."
Oh my gosh.
Written in what looked like blood, later to be found out was ketchup. And the girls fled the house. And then after that incident is when their father put them in counseling.
Oh my goodness.
And there were several more incidents.
Wait, so did the father know that they found that written in ketchup and he didn't think to like investigate?
He was still attributing it to my kids are grieving their mother.
They wrote it?
He thought they wrote it with ketchup and then freaked out. And there were several more incidents, but the last one, Frank was starting to go crazy from all the what he thought were shenanigans. His patience was wearing thin, and then he came home to a strange sight. Frank went into Tina's room and found a message, "Marry me," painted on the wall. And then looking around the room, Frank saw a greasy, unwashed boy dressed in his deceased wife's clothing.
Oh my gosh.
Standing in Tina's room with a hatchet.
Oh my gosh.
It was Danny LaPlante. Oh. And there was a brief altercation, and Danny fled the house, and the police were called. Danny disappeared, it seemed Danny had disappeared, but after a search of the house, an officer discovered a hidden crawl space, and Danny was found inside and then placed under arrest and removed from the home. LaPlante had been living in the walls of the Bowen home, and it seemed like he had been there for almost a year.
Holy cow.
And he had created peepholes to observe the family, especially Tina. Like Tina's room had little peepholes all in it.
Yikes. Tina.
It became clear that
violating.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, never get over that.
No, you would never feel like you had privacy again.
No, you just get one of those, like,
it sucks that the dad didn't know how to believe them too. Like, that's just so hard.
Yeah. So it became clear that Danny was the spirit that had been haunting the home, and the girls were hoping was their mother.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. So Danny was placed in juvenile hall. And I didn't see a specific amount of time, but it looks like it was anytime from like 6 months to a year. And then he was released.
Gross. Ew.
And unsurprisingly, he returned to burglary. And
wait, I'm sorry. He was only in prison for a year?
Yeah, juvenile.
Oh, juvenile. Okay.
Juvenile hall. Mm-hmm. And in that time, he was 16 and he is now 17. And so upon his release, he returned to burgling homes, and he obtained 2 guns. And this is the time where he broke into the Gustafson home. And in the Gustafson home, it was Priscilla and Andrew were husband and wife, and they had 2 children, Abigail, who was 7, and William, who was 5. And Priscilla was pregnant, several months pregnant.
Oh, no.
And this part is really bad, you guys. So I'm just going to go as quickly as possible. So Daniel broke into the home of Andrew and Priscilla on December 1st, 1987. Priscilla, they had Abigail, William, and Priscilla was several months pregnant with their 3rd child.
Tell me what the ages of the other kids were again.
Abigail is 7, William is 5.
7, 5, and pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Daniel had broken into their home and heard Priscilla and William come home. He later said that he almost left out a window, but then decided to confront Priscilla. He forced Priscilla and her son into their room, where he put William in the closet. He then raped Priscilla and shot her several times. He took 5-year-old William to the bathroom and drowned him in the bathtub. And Daniel was still at the house when 7-year-old Abigail returned home, and he went and drowned her as well. The autopsy report about Abigail stated that she also suffered blunt force trauma, and they could tell that she fought as hard as she could.
Oh my gosh.
Andrew Gustafson returned home from work around 5:30 p.m. He found Priscilla in the master bedroom, at which point he called the police. He stated he did not search for his children because he was afraid he would find them dead. Andrew is quoted saying, "It was so shocking. I screamed. I wailed." Daniel LaPlante was a suspect.
Entire family just gone.
Yeah.
Oh, that poor guy. Poor man.
Oh, yeah. Daniel LaPlante was a suspect immediately. I know, 5 and 7. After 2 days of searching, the evening of December 3rd, Daniel was taken into custody. After LaPlante's arrest, Frank Bowen expressed anger that Daniel had been released at all. He is quoted saying, "If Daniel LaPlante does not get convicted and gets out again, I will personally kill him." Frank and his daughters had been living in fear since Daniel had been discovered living in their walls. Frank expressed the hardships his family experienced and the difficulty of putting their life back together after Daniel's actions. Daniel LaPlante was sentenced to 3 life sentences. In 2017, Daniel sought to be released after Massachusetts law passed to help people arrested as juveniles re-enter society. Following a psychiatric evaluation, it was stated LaPlante had no empathy and continued to minimize his behavior. Family of Priscilla, William, and Abigail testified that Daniel should rot in prison. Priscilla's husband, Andrew, died of cancer in 2014. His second wife, Carol, stated that he was plagued by nightmares until he passed away.
Oh, my goodness.
Daniel remains in max security prison in Norfolk, Massachusetts. A judge upheld Daniel's sentence of 3 life sentences. So he is never
locked away, won't be getting out.
Yeah. And that is the story of Priscilla, Abigail, and William, Daniel LaPlante's victims. And had a very, very sad story of that. And the Bowen family, also his victims.
Well, I think when we have things like peeping toms, that's so often how so many killers start, and it often isn't taken seriously enough. Like things the desire to be a voyeur is a sign that there's something wrong.
Yeah,
like that
for sure.
desire to, especially in such like a secret, disturbing way.
Just knowing it's like such an invasion and not having a problem with that. You know what I mean? I think that's
Yeah, and then just feeling like for example, Haley was talking about the people that are doing it almost like for a thrill, and part of the thrill is taking pictures of people sleeping. Like that, when you do that so many times, it stops being a thrill, it stops being special. Then what are they going to do next? Like, can I crawl in bed with the sleeping woman without her noticing? Like that's exactly what I'm saying. It's the slippery slope.
Yeah. And it's like those little permissions that people like that give themselves of like, well, I'm not stealing their things, so it's okay if I stay in their house. And well, I'm only taking a photo of them. I'm not actually disturbing their rest. And
I mean, I know this was the 80s, but like a year in juvie after he had hidden someone's house for a year, like what he did was really disturbing. Yeah. He was holding a hatchet when the father found him. Like there should have been more than a year in prison.
And I forgot the main spot he was living in, the walls that they discovered, was this like little triangular space behind the toilet in the bathroom. And that was his main spot where he stayed.
Gross.
Yeah. I forgot to put that in my notes.
Did you guys remember hearing that JLo had somebody in her, like she bought that house in the Hamptons and they found somebody that had been squatting in her pool house for like over a week, and it was like a stalker that was known to her.
I didn't hear about JLo. No,
I haven't heard that. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, they found and arrested a guy, and I think she already had a restraining order against this guy, but somehow he got onto this property.
Oh my gosh!
And was spying on her from her pool house.
So he was already a known stalker of JLo.
Yes.
And then was found in JLo's pool house when she moved into a new house
in the Hamptons.
Oh my gosh. Ugh.
Well, that's a perfect segue into the Pamela Anderson story, which Haley was about to tell until I stopped her. So Haley asked if...
Speaking of Haley stopping, it was hilarious because I started to say, I don't know why it starts with a PH. And Haley was like, I'm going to get to that. And then her answer was,
I didn't.
I don't know why.
I have no answer. Before you start talking about this thing that I actually don't have an explanation for, I'm going to explain it.
Listen, I'm going to get to that in a second. And I also don't know anything about it.
I realized it as I was like reading that paragraph I wrote out. I was like, oh, I'm not getting to it at all.
Okay, now the other thing.
So Pamela Anderson, when she was a single mom with 2 kids at home, she said she was looking out her window one day and she saw the face of somebody in her pool house, a face of a woman. She called the police, and the police came and they found a homeless woman living in Pamela Anderson's pool house wearing one of her iconic Baywatch swimsuits, like collectible iconic Baywatch swimsuits, which I kind of got like mixed things on this, but I think she only had 2. So the woman was wearing it. The woman ran off. The police came. They couldn't find her. So they just were like, well, she's gone. She left. But then for the next 3 or 4 days, Pamela said she heard strange noises. She found messes in the kitchen, like crumbs left on the counter, and like clearly food had been taken, things were moved around. And so she called the police again, and they did a thorough search of the house, and they actually found the homeless woman had come into her house. When they came to chase her out of the pool house, she went into Pam's actual house and had just been hiding in rooms.
Oh my gosh.
And the woman was found with a note that said, I'm not a lesbian, but I really want to touch you. And then one of the articles I read said the woman had also slit her wrists. So like when they found her, she was bleeding, but did not die. Yeah. So the police arrested her. I believe she still had the swimsuit on, and they arrested her. And then they offered Pamela the swimsuit back, and she was like, no, you can have it.
No, thank you.
So I genuinely wonder, like, if some cop somewhere has that framed on his wall.
Oh my gosh, seriously.
It's not just hold up in police evidence,
Get
but
it on eBay. Yeah.
the title of this article, which I read two different articles, so I'll tell you what they both were. But the title of this article was Why Pamela Anderson Keeps Her Baywatch Swimsuit Locked in a Safe. And it's because her other swimsuit she now keeps locked in a safe to
keep the homeless lady from putting it on.
Yeah, so that was from Yahoo News. The true story behind why Pamela Anderson keeps her Baywatch swimsuit in a safe by Carrie Levy. Oh, and that was just written actually in March of 2024, because this was another interesting thing I found out. Pamela Anderson was just nominated for an Oscar. Oh, and I'm so excited about this. Yes, she was nominated for an Oscar for this movie that's directed by I should have read it again, so I just had it all in my head. But it's called The Last Showgirl is the movie. And it's, she said that when she read the script, she said that she sent so many scripts and all of them are just stupid, like bimbo scripts that she says are so poorly written because people are just planning on using her as the selling point. Yeah, exploiting her. But she said that when she read this, she felt like it was that she's the only person that could play it. And the story is kind of about like this club in Vegas that's one of those, like, you know, classic showgirl clubs where the owner comes out, and she'd been working for years. They're like 20 or 30 years or something. She has had a career as a showgirl, and the owner comes and announces that they're closing it up because people just aren't coming to these shows anymore. And so it's like takes her through the last couple weeks of her career.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
but I can't remember. I cannot remember who it's directed by.
Huh.
Oscar nominee though. I'm really impressed with her. And I'm so proud. The Last Showgirl.
I'm totally getting us sidetracked here, but did either of you watch any of Pam and Tommy?
No. But you told me about it.
I think I did a little bit.
I watched a couple episodes, but I couldn't get past. Okay, first, I couldn't get past the talking penis of Tommy Lee.
I heard about that.
The tip was the mouth. There were no eyes. They didn't like put googly eyes on it, but the mouth was talking to him.
Yeah, I think I was gonna watch it, and then you told me that, and I was
that
like,
no, that wasn't even the final straw. The final straw for me was that they started singing "Getting to Know You" from The King and I, and dancing on the bed.
Oh my gosh,
the penis!
And I was like,
or just Pam and Tommy.
No.
Oh my. Oh, that's so funny.
It's Gia Coppola is the director.
Oh, cool.
I'm assuming she's rated. I'm assuming she's related to Frances Ford.
Mm-hmm.
She might be.
Yeah.
That might be a fair assumption. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah. But exciting things on the horizon for Pamela. Yeah. I don't know when the Oscars are, but it's just an honor to be nominated.
If you guys remember,
you're so proud of her.
I am really proud of her. I mean, I think it's hard to break out of like that, just being like a pinup. As I know.
You know how hard that is.
She's just Canada's sweetheart.
As a curvy, beautiful woman myself.
Yeah. And blonde.
I think she's a real blonde. I'm a fake blonde. But yes, as a blonde.
I remember in high school, like some kids were starting to get cell phones. Most people didn't have cell phones, or maybe some kids were borrowing their
When you were in high school,
phones.
People started to have cell phones?
Yes, right? Wow. It sounds weird, but I remember there were these kids that were seniors. They were a year or two older than me, and I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to, make.
Will you tell us later?
Just
give us their initials.
It was like this dare thing. They would go into other people's houses and then call them from inside their own house. It was like a dare that they were doing.
Oh my gosh!
How risky. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds like a fun and exciting prank, and you're doing it to kids that you know, but somebody could get shot.
No, especially in our town. Everyone has guns here.
I know. In Texas,
not only risky, but really, really dangerous.
No, I remember playing the game Fugitive, where some kids are in cars being the seekers and you got to go from A to B. Some of the boys bragged about how they would run on top of people's roofs during the game to hide. Like they would get on people's
Like house roofs?
Yeah, house roofs.
That does not seem
Rough
safe.
roof.
Yeah.
Mom says rough.
I know.
On their roofs.
Roofs. They gallop with their hooves on the roofs.
Roofs. But yeah.
Oh. Before you got here, Emily and I were talking about how we always knew about the concept of frogging, but we hadn't ever heard it called frogging. I didn't hear it called frogging until you mentioned you were doing frogging as an episode, but how we both watched Hider in the House.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
From
movie.
1989 with Gary Busey. I always want to say Busey, but it's Busey, Gary Busey, who's already the creepiest looking man in the world. But I'm kind of a fan. I love it.
Really, yes. No, he's got
he just has
specter.
He has an unhinged look about him all the time.
His eyes are always just a little too wide.
So we looked at, while we were waiting for you, we looked it up, and it's not based on a true story that we can tell, but there is a series called Hider in My House.
Yeah.
That is based on
true story.
I was going
a true story
to
or true stories. I'm not sure.
I was gonna watch that actually in like part of research of this, but it just took me so long to just get that case put together.
It can be another segment in the future. We're not done talking about frogging. No, how could we be?
So I mean, I don't know if you guys remember me telling you this story, but when I had just had Charlie in the first house that we lived in Texas, I remember one time I was home alone with just Charlie, and I heard a noise that I thought was a key in the door. And I was like, hey, Jordan, thinking Jordan had just come home, but nothing, no response. And so I freaked out, and I'm like searching around the house for somebody. I called Jordan. He's like, okay, I mean, I'm an hour away. But so he called a friend of his that lived in the neighborhood, and he was trying so hard not to laugh at me because I'm like clutching a baby to my chest.
Oh my gosh, that's scary.
But I had him check the attic and check every bedroom and closet, and there was nothing there.
That
good.
But as we now know, froggers know how to hide.
Yeah. It turns out I did have some squirrels frogging in my attic.
Squirrels are the most notorious froggers.
They are notorious froggers. They nested up there. They pooped up there. Little jerks.
Well,
total jerks.
I know you have to go in a minute, but let me tell you this. I actually had a little bit of a scare about, I would say, a year ago or 2 years ago, because every time I went into my pantry, there's that, and that's the access to my attic above my kitchen, where there's like a attic area above my kitchen. Every time I went into my pantry, there was like little pieces of ceiling on the counter, and it just looked like things had been pushed around. And at first I just thought, well, the house maybe is settling and it's dropping. But then I noticed that on the outside, like where the first beam is, that nails were starting to come out of the ceiling a little bit, being pushed down, which is one of the signs they say to look for, like look at your ceiling. And if you notice, because often they're hiding in places that aren't meant to support people. So they'll be on beams that aren't meant for the weight of people. So I actually started to get a little bit nervous, but I found out that my son and his friends were climbing up there.
Climbing up to the attic.
Climbing up.
Stinker.
They were going in, and I just found out one day because I saw one of the friends as I was coming to the kitchen shut the door. And I was like, what are you guys doing in there? And then I opened it, and I'd seen two boys. But when I opened it, there was only one boy. And I was like, what's going on? And then he did this like, look up thing, and then look all innocent.
The most guilty face ever.
Like, oh my gosh, are they up there? And then it was like three boys just come down from the hole in the attic. I was like, you guys, that's not meant to, you cannot go up there, but
you are going to fall through our ceiling.
But I did have like a minute where I was like, is someone up there? Should I? But it was one of those things where I actually did open it and check. I climbed up and opened it and checked and like shined a beam around and didn't see anything. But I wondered, turns out it was my son.
Yeah, what a turkey.
Oh, that kid is so funny.
He is so funny.
Well, I think this is a good spot to close it. We appreciate everybody listening so much to our podcast. Tell your friends.
If you listen to it really fast, we'll sound kind of like chipmunks.
Thanks for listening. Bye. Once again, we are the Spooky Darlings, and our email is thespookydarlings@gmail.com. That's thespookydarlings@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you if you have any stories to share, or if you have any comments or questions about the episode, please send us an email. All right, thank you, and we hope you'll tune in next week. Also, please leave us a review if you don't mind. Thanks. 5 stars. Before we disappear into the shadows, don't forget, we're still sending out vinyl stickers. Leave us a rating and review and email us proof to thespookydarlings@gmail.com, along with your mailing address, and we'll send you some spooky snail mail while supplies last. And if your heart is still mourning that tote bag, may we gently tempt your way toward our merch store at thespookydarlings.printful.me. Treat yourself. You deserve it. Thanks for listening. And as always, stay spooky.